Hello everyone. I have a bit of a longer video for you today, so if you don't have time for it, click away and come back to it another time. What I want to talk to you about today is my basic moral understanding of the universe and life itself. So here goes. Um, I am what I would call a moral perfectionist. Let me describe that for you so that you can get a. I think you know where I'm going with it, but I'm just going to fully describe it so that you can understand where I'm coming from when I talk about the moral, philosophic understandings of the actions that I take in my day to day life. So, excuse me while I readjust myself. Moral perfectionism is what I believe to be a complete and finished list of every possible action or inaction taken by a life form, and it's gauged based on whether that action or inaction is good or evil. So, the list is really big. It's not the biggest list there is, but it's pretty extensive. It encapsulates every action that can possibly happen, so it's a lot. What I believe that list to be comprised of is at the very top of the list is the highest moral good you can possibly achieve in your lifetime, in the past, present, or future. The bottom of the list is the worst evil thing you can possibly imagine for life ever. So, I believe there's an order, a perfect order, in which the actions are aligned on that list, and we should be gauging our own actions and prioritizing them based on where they land on that scale. For instance, if you're going to go see a movie and you have a test coming up, it's a pretty easy scenario. The better thing to do in that scenario would be to study for the test instead of going to the movie. But what if the movie teaches you a better life lesson than the test does? Is the movie more important than the test in that case? Sure. So you have to judge every action by its potential merits, literally every action that you possibly take, aside from like breathing and blinking, which are neutral activities. Those are like everyday, like peeing and pooping is pretty natural and something that can't be avoided unless you literally choose to die from not peeing or pooping. If that's possible, I don't know. But I'm straying too far from my point. I want that list to be realized so that people can literally reference that list and decide whether or not they should do one thing or another. Like, if you have a certain amount of free time that you have, and you have, let's say, an hour of free time, what should you, morally speaking, spend that hour doing? Well, you pick the action that's highest on the list, that's achievable to you, and then you do it. And if you don't do it, then you're evil, in part. And that's what original sin is, I think, is that you have to earn goodness. I'm an atheist, but I do take religious teachings very seriously because I think that there's got to be a reason why it's so popular. You know what I mean? It's been in the world for thousands and thousands of years. Many religions. I'm not just talking about Christianity. I try and take teachings from all of them, secularize the teachings, and then apply them to my own life. So, this is what I believe kind of what heaven and hell is too, where you're trying to earn your way into heaven. And the original sin is what you're born into, and in essence, you're born in a blank slate. As a human being, at least, we're born blank, morally speaking. So we can't help but doing some evil things on accident. We just literally can't help it because we don't have the knowledge yet of the evil thing that we did at the time. So it's very interesting to see where different actions line up on the list of moral perfectionism and who's innocent and who's guilty. And it's fun to do so because if you do more of the things that are higher on the list, you are literally a better person than somebody who spends their free time kicking puppies. I'm sure we can all agree to that. Like, watching a movie is way better than torturing a kitten. So we actively choose, hopefully, to watch the movie instead of inflicting torture. But some of our sorry asses on this fucking planet don't get it, and they actively go and seek to torture other people. Like, we have to be able to say that somebody is evil. We have to be able to say that. We can say that people are good and morally righteous, but we're too scared to label somebody as evil. It's a shame. Really, it is. You're not giving credit to the evil. That's where you lose. Evil is part of my list, my understanding of the universe. And in fact, the purpose of life, to me, is to fight evil. That's our one purpose as intelligent life. Seek out evil, extinguish it, and keep extinguishing it by passing down knowledge of good and evil so that you can choose for yourself later on, with all of the knowledge of good and evil, to then act for yourself in the perfect way. And once all evil has been extinguished, and we keep extinguishing it, our only job, really, as life forms, is to entertain each other. It's to keep seeking out evil and extinguish it. And when there's no more evil to find, you start seeking it out forever. That's always part of the job of being a life form. It's your forever job. Seek out evil and extinguish it by any means necessary at the time. So, we have to come up with the perfect moral philosophic list that we can then reference and use to guide us in our everyday lives. What should we do with our free time? What should we be doing with our work time? It's going to rule us, this list. It will in the future, I guarantee you, but it's not right now. And that's the scary part, is that moral perfectionism, this idea that I have, isn't widespread enough in order to get enough people on board so that we can keep spreading it and extinguish evil forever. We have to do God's job for him. That's why I think he created us. He got bored of fighting evil, or he was just incompetent, and we have to be able to say enough is enough. There is evil, it exists, and we have to extinguish it, no matter what. So something very high on my list of things to do is fight against circumcision. Fight against immoral people. To fight against evil. That's my job. My forever job. And it is yours too. And I'm saying that right now, we are failing miserably. Like below 50% failing. About the great and perfect understanding of morality. And all it takes is for one person to think enough about it and write it down. Or just list it verbally and make a video recording of it. We have video now. We can do that. So what my attempt to do is to do just that. Make a list of every moral action and then just do the better actions and become a better person. Work yourself out of evil and become a good person. That is possible. What if, and this is a very what if Jeffrey Epstein, instead of being killed in prison, what if instead he relinquished all of his money and all of his earnings to charity and forever relinquished his evil doings of pedophilia or whatever? We would then think better of him. We would still say he's an evil pedophile, but we would think better of him, wouldn't we? We would say that at least he had the guts to turn around and admit that he was wrong and take action to make the world a better place. But we took that opportunity away from him. We killed Jeffrey Epstein, and we're glad we did it. I'm not. Jeffrey Epstein should have been killed. I agree with that part. It's just not yet. We should have seized all of his assets and literally just given it to St. Jude or the Red Cross or something. That's what we should have done as a better moral people. And then kill him. Just to prove to him that we did the good that he could have. And then kill you. Just to prove that we're a better person than you, Jeffrey Epstein. I know you're dead, but that's not stopping me from degrading you even further, you piece of shit. Raping kids? Really? That's what's fun to you? That's an activity on your list of moral things to do? Jesus. Help that man. Badly. And whose job is it to teach us? The old people. You're right. It's the eldest among us that are supposed to be teaching us good and evil. But who is it left to? Who is that job left to? The parents, the teachers, the police, the detention system. You're really going to trust your child to that? Wouldn't you rather safely say that you are doing your absolute moral best to raise your child and teach them right from wrong? But what are you doing instead? Watching TV? I don't know. Yoga? I mean, yoga's healthy, but it's not as healthy as teaching your child about right and wrong. You have to prioritize yourself. Literally. There is no age at which you have to stop learning. There is no age at which you stop teaching. There is no point in which it is okay to stop trying to learn and teach. It is literally the fundamental crux of moral perfectionism. We have to take all of the teachings and use them in the best way possible. But we need to have all the teachings first. We need to extrapolate our moral guidance and apply it to actions that haven't even happened yet. We need to be able to safely say that we are going to judge you perfectly based on what you have done. If you are a good moral person and you actually literally catch a pedophile in the act of raping a child, you should be rewarded by the government in some way. Just like the pedophile is being, punished. There needs to be a reward system too. We have to say that it is a good thing to seek out evil that isn't right next to you. You go out there, literally go and seek out evil, extinguish it, and keep doing it forever. That's what life is. It's an evil extinguisher. Are you doing your part? Are you doing your absolute moral best? Are you trying to learn about philosophy? Learn about morality? Learn about why you're here? Or are you just concerned about the next pussy you're gonna fuck? Seriously? I'm willing to bet a very large portion of our brain power is focused on having sex. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But in order to propagate our species, we need to perfect our species first, before we bring in more ignorant, evil people into the world that we cannot teach yet. We need to do the moral, philosophic groundwork that our ancestors haven't been doing. I am greatly ashamed of my ancestors. They wasted their lives. I'm safely saying that. Because I haven't learned a single fucking thing from anyone older than my grandpa. Isn't that sad? Shouldn't we be taking these life lessons that are found hundreds of years ago and carry them on? Improve them? Shouldn't we then give credit to our ancestors and say, hey, you won. Even though you didn't extinguish evil, you did your best to try and extinguish it. And you passed that light on to me. And now it's my turn. But you failed. You didn't teach me. I taught myself. Through others. Online, books, talking to people. It makes me cry. The amount of failures that I've lived. Absolute failures. That I would have loved if I was alive with them. I would have been friends with them. I would have been their family. But it's not enough. Not yet. We need to keep going in our ancestors' stead. We need to say that there is evil in this world, and if every single one of us was on the same page, we could literally be living in a world without evil. It's possible to do that right now. Imagine. This is an impossibility, but just imagine if everyone on Earth stopped what they were doing in their free time and started helping each other. Imagine how much better the world would be immediately. But we don't. Because our leaders have been failures as well. There has never been a good leader in history, in my opinion. Nobody has tried to conquer the world with the good message that there is a possible heaven on earth. We can exist without evil. We can. It's possible. Imagine if there was only 2 people on earth. Adam and Eve, let's say. If they don't do anything evil, and they watch out for each other's backs, there's nothing evil that can happen. Except for a natural disaster or something. So we should be preparing for... Well, that actually does improve my point, my thinking a little bit. We have to find and extinguish evil at all costs, and then we have to survive. I know that in a few million years, or like something like that, the sun will explode. So we literally have to evacuate our solar system before that happens. So we literally have to survive, find and extinguish evil, and keep doing those things forever. So we have to come up with the perfect definitions of good and evil. That's what moral perfectionism is, to me at least. We have to come up with a list of everything good and evil and act accordingly based on that list. Don't genocide. That's really low on the list. Don't go down there. Stay up here. Like farming in a healthy way, planting trees and stuff like that. That's up here. That's a good moral list of a thing to do. And we can extrapolate. We can just list everything. And we can start now. Why not? List everything that you can possibly think of. Make a list. And organize it in a way so that the best things you can do are at the top and the worst things you can do are at the bottom. And I believe that there is the perfect order to that list. It exists. Naturally, outside of life. But as soon as life exists, that list is then put into existence, whether we know about it or not, and we have to act accordingly to that list, whether we know it or not. So the game is rigged from the start. Life sucks. We are here to fight evil. Our purpose is rooted in the negative. That's where our lives are right now. As a species, our lives are rooted in evil. But I imagine a world, a universe, where evil has been extinguished and it is in the past, and that only good things happen in the future. I can imagine that future. No matter how many people there are, if your arguments are good enough, you will convince everyone who can understand you. So, you have to be able to understand, and then you can learn, and then you can teach. So, I'm going to do what my ancestors should have done. Try and make the world a better place in the best way that I possibly can forever, until I'm dead. And I won't stop. I have to keep going, because I found my purpose. And I found the purpose for you too. You just have to accept it. Okay, now it sounds like I'm in a cult. Try not to, don't join a group or anything based on, well, I don't know. I'm not interested in cult behavior. Anyway, I just wish that the moral system we have is better. That's it. And furthermore, I believe that there is a perfect moral order. That there is a list we have to abide by when deciding what to do. So, in my free time, I spend it fighting against evil that exists in the world today. And some of the worst evil I can think of is torturing a baby. That's what circumcision is. It's torturing a baby. Therefore, it is one of the worst things you can possibly do to other life forms. And we're doing it rampantly. Like the world is filled with evil. Completely brimmed. Filled to the brim. And it's because our ancestors failed us. The wisest among us died without passing on their teachings. Shame on you. Shame on your grave. I would piss on it if I knew which ones to piss on. And hopefully, if the future generations deem me to be a failure, piss on my grave. Fine. But don't say that I wasn't trying, at least. So, I'm going to keep trying. My arguments are going to only get better. And only more and more people will keep, abiding by moral perfectionism. And if I can offer you, literally, in my hands, my brain, my words, I can promise you that there will be no more evil one day. It's just how soon it's going to happen. And whether or not you help me, whether we help each other, in any way we can. Giving a homeless guy a sandwich is a pretty good thing to do if he's hungry and wants it. You know what I mean? We can start small. We don't have to jump to the big stuff at first, because I really don't believe we're capable of fighting the big stuff yet. We can't. We're still over here trying to raise children the right way. And we're fighting each other over it. With war. You didn't teach your child my religion? I'm gonna kill him. Like, what? Hello? They were born wrong and you're going to kill them for it? What? I'm not advocating for violence of any kind. If you can do and extinguish evil without violence, that is fundamentally higher on the list. However, if you continue to teach and learn and try and pass on those teachings, but the evil person still refuses to learn, and then they keep doing the evil thing, there is no other choice but to resort to violence. There is a time and a place for a crusade. A moral perfectionist crusade. Non-religious. I mean, you can be religious and a moral perfectionist. I guess that's possible. But I'm looking for a secular, like separated from religion, a moral system for people to follow. So, I believe that humans are failing and we need to pull ourselves up from our bootstraps and say that we have been evil and enough is enough. We've had our fun. It's time to stop. Like, what have the children done to deserve you being evil to them? What have they done? Except for just be born. And that was even your fault. How can you blame your kid if your kid is your responsibility? The parents of Hitler are worse than Hitler himself. How many people do you know would actually say that? Oh, but Hitler actually did all the things. The parents failed Hitler. They failed him. And in such, Hitler failed the world. It's all a parenting problem. All of it. It is all a teaching problem. Ever since the first intelligent life form existed, it is their fault for propagating itself before fully realizing its moral perfectionism. We were not ready. But we can be. We can take a step back from the onslaught of punches assaulting us and say, okay, and the punches are still going, but we're back here now, so we can actually think. Like, the punches are the evil, the bad parenting, the lack of teaching. We need to take a step back from that. Teach ourselves what to do, like I have, and actually go out into the world and make it a better place. And this, making a video, is me literally going into the world digitally and spread my message the best way that I know how. So that's what I do. I believe that the internet is just a communication between people. That's it. I mean, it can entertain you, it can do a whole bunch of things, but essentially, just like the telegraph, the phone, the printing press, all it is just communication between each other. Like the greatest inventions humanity has ever created are just a way to talk to each other better. And none of you are getting that, to my knowledge, except for me. And my mission is simply to communicate moral perfectionism to the most people that I can in the shortest amount of time, in the best way that I can. So hopefully that explains myself to all of you and what I believe the universe is fundamentally. The universe is neutral if there wasn't life. But since there is life, and we haven't extinguished evil yet, it is our job, forever job, to extinguish evil and prevent it from ever arising again. Because we then have the knowledge of the evil thing that we did or didn't do. And we can then avoid it, literally, because we have the reference to it. And so before you go and do the thing, you reference your list of moral perfectionism, and you say, oh, that's an evil thing. And then you avoid it. Easy peasy. And imagine if this list was so easy to describe that a child could pick up on it. That's what my goal is. Pretty much. Is to be a better parent. And I don't even have kids. I'm already trying to be a better parent. And I don't even have plans on being a parent. That's how much of a better human being than I am to you. And I hate to say those words in that order, because it sounds like I'm conceited and like ignorant beyond my age or whatever. But I have an understanding. It's true. People can be better than other people. In my worldview, my universe view, there is a list of actions that you were ignoring that I am not. If I have more knowledge about how to be a better person than you, then it's pretty likely that I'm going to be a better person than you. So, my job, in other words, is to be better than you. Ha. And it's not funny. My job, my forever job, is to find and extinguish evil by teaching you about moral perfectionism. So, this is a pretty long video. I hope you stayed through it. In fear of being redundant, I actually don't fear that. I want to repeat myself. So, if you made it through the entire video, thank you. It means the most to me that you made it through this video. Literally. Because I've then explained moral perfectionism to you, which is arguably my most important mission. So, this video is my most important video to date until I can make a better one. So, if you made it through this whole video and you feel like you can explain things better than I did, feel free. I encourage you to do that. Show me up. Do it in the comments. Like, I'm not making money off of these videos. I'm not going to either. And if I do, it's going to charity. And I will show receipts. Okay? Because all of this of what I'm doing online is for the good of the people. This isn't for me. I already believe that I'm on the better side of life. I have learned, and I am keeping learning. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to teach people. So, I am living as righteously as I can. And I want you to as well. And feel good about it. Like, yeah, I donated $5 to St. Jude today. And I tell you what, if I had the money to, I would match every single one of you who follows me. And hopefully I will be able to, if my channel and my influence grows to that point. Because then I will have the resources to be able to help more people, to donate. I might even create my own charity someday. Who knows? I'm going to make the best charity. Fight me on it. It's a worthy goal, right? Make the best charity. That's a goal, sure. I'll put it on the list. All right, this video has gone on way too long. I need you to comment. Let me know what you think, because what you think is important. Please. I'm begging you. Here. I'm on my knees right now. Leave a comment. Please let me know what you think about moral perfectionism. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.